This is Dane from Fire Chief Dane. 4th of August 1991, 25 years ago, a great event happened in my career in the fire services. And that was the day, well, I shouldn't say great, but the rescue itself was great. But on that particular day, the vessel behind me at the Oceanos actually sank, and I was part of the rescue crew that took part in that magnificent rescue. It was the most successful maritime rescue in the history of maritime. And next to us here, you just see now the lifeboat from the Oceanos, and this lifeboat carried passengers off that particular vessel on that day. So the Oceanos was in our port on the Saturday. It was chartered by a family from Queenstown. I think their daughter got married, so they were shipping guests around these London waters. And the next day, or that afternoon I should say, the Oceanos set sail for Durban. And the seas were very, very boisterous. The east wind was pumping. The weather was extremely bad. On the particular day, there was actually a 100 kilometer per hour wind. Between 90 and 100 kilometer per hour winds were blowing out on the ocean. So the conditions for sailing was not very good. But nevertheless, the ship set sail for Durban, and I was on duty that night. Now, during the night, most probably around about midnight, our fire alarms went off, and when we got to the engine room, our senior officer, whose name was Bob Drake, he informed us that the Oceanos was busy sinking off the wild coast in the Transkei. I was the first one to say that can't be, sir, you know, because it was in our port yesterday. And he said, yes, definitely it was sinking. So basically, I put my hand up first and I said I want to go, because I was a medic and I involved with rescues and all sorts of things, and I loved the adventure. And I also knew that it must probably be a once in a lifetime opportunity for me to take part in a sea rescue like this here. So we basically packed our 4x4, we took a rubber duck with, we took diving equipment with, anything that we thought we would possibly need on the day for this rescue, we took with us, and we set sail, or we drove to the wild coast. We most probably traveled for about 2.5 to 3 hours. When we got close to the area, we noticed that there were lots of flares being fired off from the vessel, and then we knew that there was definitely something happening, you know, because it seems very unreal when you get the news. So basically, we knew that there is something happening. So we set up our joint operations center at the place, at a hotel, a small little hotel called the Haven. We set up our joint operations center there. We set up big spotlights which we shone out to sea, just to make the passengers aware that there was some movement on land. We were aware of their plight, and we basically just walked down to the beach just to comb the beach for any debris, maybe survivors washed out or anything like that, you know. But luckily the beach was clear. We could not find anything like that there. So we had to wait for first light, because the helicopters from Durban and from Port Elizabeth was going to come in, and they were going to fly out to the Oceanos to retrieve the passengers off the ship. First light, the choppers came, and they started flying out. So I was land-based, and I, being a medic, I received the passengers, and I assessed the passengers for any injuries, etc., made sure they were comfortable, checked just basically for shock, all sorts of things, you know. And after all the passengers had been taken off the boat, I got into our 4x4 and I went to a place called Hole in the Wall, and I stood on the shore and I watched through the binoculars as the Oceanos sank. It was the most spectacular sight that I have most probably ever seen in my years in the fire services. You know, you just saw that ship tilt and then sink right down to the bottom of the ocean. All the deck chairs, everything that was on deck just flew up into the air. So lots of bubbles, you know, from the air obviously, and then there was nothing. You would never ever say there was a massive ship there a few minutes ago. So basically, that's one of the great rescues that I took part in the fire services. And you know, I want to share my knowledge and experience with you, because I feel that I've got so much to tell you and so much to teach you. And I hope that you're going to subscribe to a series of videos that we'll be releasing very, very shortly on Fire Chief Dane, where we'll teach you basically how to assist your child, or anybody else for that matter, if they should drown, if they should burn, That's a mild, moderate or severe burn. Maybe if they choke, if they ingest poison of some sort, or possibly get injured, you know, your fractures and your lacerations and so forth. So I trust you'll keep a lookout on our website. We will be posting on Facebook as well, and I trust you'll subscribe. It's not your normal first aid course. This is just a first responder teaching you how to assist somebody that is in a compromised position through an injury. So this is Fire Chief Dane. I trust you enjoyed the video, and keep a lookout for our next video.